is Noreen from Joya Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, please click that subscribe button and the bell, and you'll be notified when my videos release. So anyway, this video is Sea Turtle. Now, I just did Seaside Bay, and it's called By the Bay Suite, and came up with a really pretty card here that has a lot of layering and it's detailed. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, you know, I need to do the turtle one at the same time because the DS paper for this suite is just absolutely insanely beautiful. So I wanted to go ahead and continue it. And by the way, I am an Amazon affiliate, so anything that you see that's not Stampin' Up!, if you go to the description of my video, like where the title is, click on little down arrow and the show more and all that, you'll see things like the folders that I keep my paper in, the glass, the magnets for the dies, all kinds of stuff. So anyway, but I wanted to continue with this kind of theme with the ocean. So I went ahead and made these. Now, there are 3 cards. We're going to make one of these, but I wanted to show you different techniques. Now, this card here, it's very much 3D layered because I've got it layered up on a few little bunch of dimensionals here. So this is an A6 card, so it is a 9 by 6 1/4, score at 4.5. And by the way, all the dimensions for these cards are also in the description of my video. So you can get the Amazon links, which I'm totally safe to click on, the description, the dimensions, and of course you can shop Stampin' Up! Products too. Just click on the links next to the supply items because all the supplies will be in there as well. So this DS paper is just so beautiful. But what I did is I took this piece of paper here and I cut 3 different layers of the waves. And then I took this paper right here, which is Crumb Cake, and I took the stamp from Seaside Bay. So I'm using both of these here, but I took the stamp and made it like it's sand. And I took the turtles and I stamped the turtles and the base layer, and I'll show you how the turtles layer up here in a minute. But I took Parakeet Party and Garden Green, and I layered these guys up and put them up on dimensionals. The sentiment is also from Seaside Bay. And then the die here that I cut the sand with is also from Seaside Bay. And it's this one right here. So I cut that crumb cake with this edge, with this particular die, and it made that cool effect. And then the sky is just another piece of the DS paper. So it's like this sky right here. And it just is so pretty. So I just layered those up, put it on Night of Navy, and then there's Mint Macaroon here on the shadow, and then on the inside I just did Balmy Blue, Mint Macaroon. I put in the white and stamped the little turtle. But this was the first card I did, and then the second one, you're going to notice it's similar to the third one, but way different. So this one here, I'm using the DS paper again, By the Bay, and then I also took the dies from By the Bay here, the foliage here, the seaweed right here, and used the DS paper. And I've got a whole sheet for the DS paper that I just cut out all these little seaweeds in, and cut a bunch of those and laid it down on, this is Mint Macaroon, and then we've got Night of Navy to put that DS paper. The sentiment tag, because there's no sentiment tag in either one of this, is Give It a Whirl. And I tell you what, Give It a Whirl is an amazing set because you've got sentiment tags, you've got clouds, you've got stars, you've got hearts, so many things here. And I just took the rectangle die and cut the Mint Macaroon sentiment. And then I took the Night of Navy and I just cut it, and the The shadow tag is 2 1/8 by 7/8. And like I said, all the dimensions for everything is in the description of the video, so you don't have to frantically write it down. And then I stamped the turtle in that parakeet party in garden green. It looks so cute. Put on the little seaweeds. And these pearls, these flat pearls are beautiful. I love the pearls. And then on the inside, what I did is I took a piece of DS paper, and this part was in the middle, so I kind of put it, cut it in a way so it'll be in the middle here, my Night of Navy and the white. But how this is different, if you notice, the paper in the background is different. That's because I made this paper. And I don't know when you're watching this video. It could be years from now. Who knows? But you probably won't have this DS paper. So we're going to make some DS paper that looks like the real thing, or anyway, close to it. Actually, I like it a little better than this one. So we're going to make the DS paper. Also the turtle. This one's just straight stamping, where this one, if you notice, and I don't know how well it comes across in the video, but there's different colors in his shell. So he's nice and pretty. So, and then I just layered up the seaweed like I did on the other one. Took a little mussel from the DS paper that they have little mussels on, and used the die from By the Bay, and this just turned out really pretty. And then inside, I also made another piece of the custom DS paper in the white and stamped the turtle. So this is the card we're going to make. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is take a black card base. It's 5.5 by 4 1/4, and we're going to take 2 pieces of basic white, and they are cut 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to snail it down. I'm going to put one on the front, believe it or not, and I'm gonna put one on the inside, and you'll know why here in a little bit, because this is a very, very important part, because it will look quite different if you don't put the white on. Also, you're gonna grab your Seaside Bay dies, and you're gonna grab these 2 dies here, and you're gonna grab the sheet of paper that looks like this, the DS paper, and you're going to cut these out. And on the back is kind of like that beigey kind of color, but you're going to cut a whole bunch of these, at least 10 of these, and these 2 dies here. Then you're going to take this die from Seaside Bay and cut out one of the mussels like I did, just like that. Now we're going to grab the sentiment from Seaside Bay, and we're going to stamp in memento the thank you for everything. And then we're going to grab the die from Give It a Whirl. And like I said, this is a great set to get a lot of dies and a lot of functionality out of this. Especially you look at things like, I don't know how many times I need a little tiny circle. It's got a little tiny circle. It's got arrows. It's got clouds. It's got hearts. It's got stars. I mean, it's amazing. So I'm going to take this die here. I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to take my delicate frog tape, the yellow delicate frog tape, and this will be in my Amazon link. You could like order this, and then it'll like magically comes to your door. And basically all the Amazon links, they help out all small businesses, especially mine, because when you click on it, not only if you buy it, I get a commission, but if you don't buy it, you click on it and you get out. If you order anything on Amazon for the next 24 hours, I get a little kickback from Bezos, might as well take some money away from him. So I'm going to take this die here, and I'm going to line it up. I'm going to use my delicate frog tape, and I'm going to cut it out. So I've cut this out. I could take this piece of tape off. I can use this a whole bunch of other times. Doesn't leave a lot of residue on your dies, which can muck up your plates, your cutting plates. So be careful of that. And then I'm going to put this back in my die cutter because I can use it again. And so I've got my sentiment. Now just take a piece of black, and you're going to cut this 2 1/8 by 7/8. And we're going to take some dimensionals and just put a couple of dimensionals on here and put it on the background. So it'll look like this. And now put this to the side. So let's talk about the sea turtle here. And what it does is the front and the back of the stamp are like a set. So here's the front of the turtle, and here's the back. So you got the detail and the shadow. Then the little frog, the same thing, detail and shadow. And then the bubbles have a detail and a shadow. The seaweed, detail and shadow. The fishies are detail and shadow. The starfish, everything's has a back. In fact, when you layer them up together, they look like this. So they're really, really cute stamps. I really enjoyed working with them. So I'm going to take my box here. I'm going to put it under my Stamparatus because we are going to do some fun stuff here. So let's get our paper. I just have some paper here. I've got the detailed part of the stamp on there. So not the smooth side, the detailed part. I'm going to put it here just in the middle and start setting it up. So this is an interesting technique. I'm going to only partially stamp this. And I'm going to take a Stampin' spot. And these are great because when you're working with your Stamparatus, when you've got a big Stampin' pad, you know, you're all over the place. You can accidentally ink your plate here or ink the piece. So if you really want to get into some detail or just not make a mess, use the Stampin' spots. And they look like this and they come uninked. You can also buy the basic colors inked. But if you get a Paper Pumpkin subscription, you get a Stampin' spot in every one. And I keep them, I hoard them. Even though I sell my Paper Pumpkin kits after I use them, I put them in this box here. And this is great. So all the ones that came with Paper Pumpkins are in here. And all the ones I ink are in here. And they're fantastic. I know where all my little Stampin' spots are. And I can just put them away and have them be in one spot. But these things are great. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab some garden green and you're going to get some ink and you're going to ink up your Stampin' spot here because we're only going to ink his head and his feet. So we're going to take this and we're not going to stamp the middle. We're going to custom do that. So what's nice about the little Stampin' spot is got that flat edge, and I'm just going to take it and I'm going to, like I said, do the head and the arms and the feet. So I'm just going to ink a bunch around here and try to get it on there pretty good. And before I do that first press into the paper, I do want to make sure everything's kind of inked here because it has the tendency to pull up the paper and I don't want it to do that when it's uninked. So I want to make sure I put it down a good amount of ink before I press down. So let's go ahead and press down on that. Okay, and these are the clear stamps, the photopolymer. So yeah, they have the tendency to be really sticky. So you can see how much I stamped, and then you can go around and go, okay, I need to stamp more here. I need to get more, definitely more in his head. Maybe push down a little harder. And if I haven't used my Stampin' spot in a little while, then I'll re-ink it with the refill ink. So I'm just going to go through and do this again. Just like that. Pull it up slowly, just like so. And if you get a little bit on the shell, it's okay because we're going to be doing some coloring anyway, and it probably won't show up. So I'm going to give it another coat here. And get right down to the edge of that shell. Yeah, you can't really do this with a big Stampin' pad. I mean, you can, but it's just going to be a lot messier. So I'm going to try it again. Push down on it really good. Lift up on it slow, just like that. Okay, now the next step. Now, the middle of his shell, I decided to use these three colors here. And these are the Stampin' Rights. The Stampin' Rights are sold in a big set. And every time they have the new colors come out, they have a little set to add to them. These are fantastic. I use these a lot. They come in all the colors that Stampin' Up! Has. And these are the ones that you can write on the stamps. The Stampin' Blends, you cannot. It won't work. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with my Parakeet Party. And I'm just going to, you know, frantically just color it anywhere. Just give it a little ink. Okay, just like that. I don't want to really commit to it. I just, you know, right all over. And I'm going to push this down again and bring it back up. The next one I'm going to use is Coastal Cabana. And I'm going to give it some more. Make sure I get the edges here by the feet. And I'm going to close it up. Do it some more. Okay. And I'm going to give it a little bit more. And go like that. Okay. Now I'm going to use Tahitian Tide. And I'm going to really make sure I get the edge. Now you could do this colored any way you want. So just when you have these markers, you have more of a freedom to do that. I'm just going to go in the middle frantically and go like that. And I'm going to grab here, give it some more. Okay. Then I'm going to go back and forth with the colors. So I'm going to grab some green, that Parakeet Party. Okay. And I'm going to grab some more green, I think. Okay. And now I'm going to grab some blue. Just go back and forth until you get the color that you want. Now, like I said, make sure you get around like the feet and the arms and the head here. So it's got a border. And then go back. Okay, so I'm going to mess with it some more until I get what I want, and I'll be right back. I'm even going to grab my garden green and go over his arms a little bit. Now, I do like using the stamp more for this part, but I just wanted to get a little something extra on here. So I'm going to put a little bit more ink on. Three, two, well, I'm going to put a little bit more here. Oh. Three, two, one. Now that you got your ink on, I'm going to take my simple chamois here and I'm just going to wipe this off, because what we need to do is turn it over and do its background, which I totally want to do. So I'm going to flip it over to the back and I'm going to line it up just like so. Close this. Okay. And now for the next color. So the next color is Soft Seafoam, and I did want to show you how to ink these little Stampin' spots. So I've got Soft Seafoam refill, and I'm just going to ink the you-know-what out of the white here, really saturate it. Of course, you got to hit your finger so, you know, you wear it for later. So I really, really saturated it. And then I'm going to put a label on this because you don't want to be guessing. All my things like this, and we're going to be using daubers here, they're all labeled. And I've got my little P-Touch label maker, and I already keyed in the name. And I really love this label maker. This is also on my Amazon affiliate link. So, you know, you order it and it magically comes to your door. And then I'm going to cut off the ends here, and I'm going to label the top. And then I'm going to put it in my little box with all my Stampin' spots. So there it is. So Soft Seafoam is the lightest green that we've got. And when I put this on and we stamp over this turtle, it won't drown out the color from the shell. If we get any darker, you'll really, really miss that good color here. So I'm going to go ahead and just give it a nice little background. There we go. And that looks good. So that's how I colored my turtle. Now that Mr. Turtle's been all colored up, guess what we get to do? We get a fussy cut. Now, usually I would take something like this and put it on my brother's Scan and Cut and have it scanned because there is no die to this. But unfortunately, there's all these little, like the brother Scan and Cut will scan something that's a complete, like a circle. It has a beginning and an end. But if you have all these little divots going in and out, it'll drive it crazy. And it might not be dark enough ink with that soft seafoam for it to see. So we're going to have to fussy cut. So I'm going to fussy cut this and I'll be right back. So we fussy cut our little turtle. Now I'm going to take a soft seafoam dauber, and I also labeled it. And I'm going to get rid of the white edges from fussy cutting. So I'll lay it down here. And since we stamped on top of it in this color anyway, it won't matter if you go over it a little bit. And get those edges right so there's no white. Just like that. Now for the second technique, there's two of them. I just showed you the turtle. Now we're going to make this DS paper, and what it is it's alcohol painting. So what you're going to do is grab 2 pieces of vellum, 4 by 5 1/4. One is going to go on the front and one's going to go on the inside. So we're going to take this paper and we're going to take, I've got Parakeet Party, the dark, I've got light Bermuda Bay, and I've got dark Night of Navy. And really, I grabbed a lot of the colors from the back of the DS paper because we're trying to match what's going on in the background here. So really grab the back of your DS papers for color combinations. So the first one we're going to grab is the lightest one, which is Parakeet Party. I'm going to grab the painty end. That's its technical name. And we're just going to do some scribbling. Just some scribbling. And then I'm going to take my dark Bermuda Bay on the painty side. And I'm going to do the same thing. Just give it a bunch of color everywhere. And now, if you notice, I'm doing this landscape and not portrait because that's how the turtle is in the water. So I'm making sure that I'm going landscape. And then I'm going to take my dark Night of Navy and I'm going to fill in all the white spots here. So just keep filling this in. Get rid of all the white, especially on the edges, in between those colors. And if you notice, I also have a piece of scratch paper and I have a piece of cardboard. Now, the cardboard you can get in a lot of the paper, like if you buy the foil papers. I always save all my cardboard. I'm sure everybody else does too, you know. So you never know when you need a piece of cardboard. So I've got this down because I'm going to be using alcohol and it's going to be pretty wet. And I'm just going to protect my glass and everything else. So now we got our 3 colors down. And I have this little dish and I'm using the isopropyl alcohol, 91%. Don't get the 70, whatever. So 91%, and grab a little dish and pour some alcohol in the dish. And then grab a brush, like a flat brush, like about this wide. I might have a Amazon link for this one too. If I do, I'll put it in there for you because this is a great brush. And then I'm going to grab a good amount of alcohol. Not too much, not too little. If you want to like experiment first on some vellum that, you know, a smaller piece so you don't, you know, go in here cold, then that's probably not a bad idea. But yeah, not too much and not too little. You don't want to over smear, but you don't want to under smear either. So I've got my alcohol here and I'm going to do in brush strokes the green, the Parakeet Party first, just to hit it. Not too much, not too little. Okay. And then I'm going to go into that Bermuda Bay and I'm doing a sideways stroke. You might even, if you can, try to like do an ocean wave a little bit. I'm going into my Night of Navy. Okay, not too much, not too little. And I've definitely ruined some. It just, you know, takes a tiny bit of practice, not too much. Just don't overdo it. Like right now, it looks right about right, but I could add like one more layer and then ruin it. So I'm going to leave it like that because I've done some other ones here. I'll show you. And they're really pretty. Here's the prettiest one. And I thought I was going to use this. And this is Night of Navy and Balmy Blue. And then I took a little bit of the Whisper White refill and another like small brush here. And I took that and I put in little white stripes, kind of to look like foam on an ocean. But I didn't like it against these other colors, so I decided not to use that one. And then I did some going the wrong direction. I did two like that. And then this one, I put too much alcohol on it and it got too smeary. So this is actually pretty good. So I'm going to leave this one. Now, you've got that second one, so we're not done. So I'm going to repeat that process and I'll be right back. So I'm doing that other sheet here and I'm putting on my lines a little different. I'm trying to emulate water a little bit. I'm making arch, but I do want to fill this in pretty deep. If it doesn't work out, I'll put it on the inside, right? So I'm just kind of experimenting a little bit. And I am going back and forth in colors just to make sure everything's filled in. So let me do that and I'll be back. So I'm on that second piece. I did a little differently. Let's see if it makes any difference. If it doesn't work out, I'll just do another one. I'll cut this part out like it never existed. Didn't happen because I didn't keep it. I've got a little too much alcohol in there. I know I'm just starting to see that on that upper left right here. That's all right. Let's see how it turns out. You never know. Never know until you give it a try, right? And a lot of this in the middle will be covered up anyway because you're going to have a big old card over the top. So it might not be all that bad. So, yep, there we go. Now, both of these are a little wet because it's vellum and we've got ink on it. So if we want to speed things up, we can take our heat gun and just put it on the low setting and just give it a little dry. It is alcohol, so it should dry pretty quick, but I also want to get my card done, so I don't want to sit here and wait. So I'm just going to give it a little help with my heat gun on a low setting and just give it a little dry. Now, while those are drying, we're going to do the inside real quick. This basic white is 4.5 by 3.25. I'm going to start out with the smooth background side first. And this is Parakeet Party. And I'm just going to put him in the corner like that. And then I'm going to put in the detail with Garden Green. Now, before I do that, I need to take the stamp. And I'm just going to use my simple chamois here. And then I'm going to flip it over to the other side. So this is also be in my Stampin' Up links, the chamois and the case that goes into. So this will keep it moist for like, 3 or 4 days. That's pretty decent. And then this is Garden Green. And these match up pretty darn good. And I'm just going to put my head in the camera, sorry. Stamp over it just like that. Now to the fun part. Let's assemble the inside anyway. And I wouldn't worry about the tape showing through the vellum too much because there's going to be a piece of white over it. Now look at it over the white. That looks really good. If I were to put it over the black, it looks totally different. And you can even see the snail on there. But it's going to go right over this white and just brighten it up. Doesn't that look good? And then I'm going to snail the back of this and just put it right over here. Now, I don't put sentiments inside my cards because I don't know who they're going to. So many times when I was putting sentiments in, I would get a card for whoever, and it's like, oh, I can't give it to that person because of whatever it says on the inside. So I always leave them blank. I think it's just a good thing to do. Now for the front, I'm going to take that other piece, and I'm going to decide which part I like. I think I do like it like that. It looks good, doesn't it? I think that turned out nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and snail in this piece. I know the turtle's going to go there, so I can give that a nice big bunch of snail. It really won't show, but I do want to make sure it's going to stay. I'm going to put it right over that white. It brightens it right up. And then I'm going to put on my turtle. So I'm going to go ahead and use a bunch of dimensionals and dimensional him up. So I dimensionaled up the turtle, and now I'm just going to put him in the corner just like this. I almost messed up here. I had dimensionals on there. It's like, no. I snailed this one on because I already dimensionaled up the white onto the black. So I'm just going to put him like that. Now the fun part, I'm going to just take a whole bunch of these that we cut out earlier. I flipped them all over so I can just snail them real nice. Now I put the piece on the card, and really, if you wanted to do it a lot easier, you could put the vellum piece on last, because there are going to be some times where you're going to want to cut off the seaweed. So I'm just going to wing it though, because I didn't do it on that one. It's like, I made it through. You just have to lift up the vellum a little bit. And you might want to tuck some of the seaweed under the turtle there. And just, just make it how you want it. And I'm going to put this over the turtle at an angle, however you want to do it. Okay, and I'm just going to layer these on up. So I have some of the seaweed hanging over the edge of the vellum, so I'm just going to cut off the bottoms and even it up. But there's all those, and then now for the little mussel. And then all I have to do is put on these beautiful flat adhesive back pearls. They're really cool. I use them pretty much in almost every card except for like one. So I kind of rearranged. This is fine. And put on the pearls. And that's it. That's the card. So you got two techniques. You got a way to make the inside of the shell, the turtle, different colors, and to make your own DS paper. Basically, almost like the DS paper here that we've got that is in that pack by the base. So anyway, that will do it for me. Please like and subscribe and click on any of the links if you see anything that's not Stampin' Up. There's also Stampin' Up stuff in the description of my video, and also the dimensions for all three of the cards. So that'll do it for me. Thanks. Bye.